Before we dive in, a quick note. This video represents commentary and analysis based on publicly available information, observable trends, and documented reports. Now let's get into it. You're scrolling through Facebook at 2 a.m., and something feels fundamentally wrong. Your aunt just shared a minion meme about coffee addiction. Your old high school teacher posted an AI-generated image of Jesus made entirely of shrimp with the caption, "Amen if you love God." There's a video of someone cooking pasta in Mountain Dew with 4.3 million views. And somehow your entire feed is filled with people you've never met, many of them older users, all clicking share like their digital lives depend on it. Welcome to Zombie Facebook. The platform that once connected half the planet is now a strange digital ecosystem populated by older demographics, AI-generated content, and the occasional confused millennial who forgot to delete their account. But how did we get here? How did the undisputed king of social media lose an entire generation? And why has the platform's demographic shifted so dramatically in just a decade? This is the story of Facebook's bizarre transformation, and trust me, the reality is stranger than any fiction. Let's rewind to 2008. Facebook wasn't just popular, it was revolutionary. Mark Zuckerberg's platform had just opened up to everyone, escaping the college-only bubble, and suddenly the entire world wanted in. For Gen Z kids just getting their first smartphones, Facebook was the digital promised land. You could poke people. You could play Farmville at 3 a.m. You could post cryptic song lyrics hoping your crush would decode your emotional state. It was messy, chaotic, deeply personal, and completely alive. The platform felt like it belonged to young people. You'd spend hours customizing your profile, carefully selecting which photos represented you best. You'd check notifications obsessively, hoping that specific someone liked your status. Facebook wasn't just a website. It was where your social life happened, where friendships were maintained, where relationships began and dramatically ended in public comment threads that everyone could see. But then something started to shift. Around 2012, the parents arrived in full force, and not just the tech-savvy parents, the parents who typed in all caps, the parents who thought every post was a private message, the parents who shared chain letters threatening that Facebook would start charging money unless you copy and paste this exact status. The parents who commented, "Who is this?" on photos you were tagged in. The parents who wrote on your wall, "Happy birthday, sweetie, love mom," for everyone to see. Gen Z did what any reasonable generation would do when their parents crashed the party. They fled. First to Instagram, where photos felt more curated and temporary stories disappeared after 24 hours. Then to Snapchat, where everything vanished and parents couldn't figure out how it worked. Then to TikTok, where the algorithm didn't care who your family was and you could be whoever you wanted to be. Each migration was a desperate attempt to find a space free from parental surveillance, a digital corner where you could be weird and unfiltered without your aunt commenting, "LOL, sweetie, is everything okay at home?" on your 3 a.m. existential crisis post. By 2016, Facebook executives faced an uncomfortable truth that their internal data couldn't hide. Their youngest users were vanishing like teenagers avoiding family reunions. The average age of Facebook users started creeping upward year by year. 30 became 40, 40 became 50. The platform was aging like a rock band that refused to stop touring decades past their prime, and Facebook, desperate to stay relevant, made a choice that would fundamentally seal its fate. Instead of chasing young people back with desperate redesigns and features copied from competitors, they doubled down on the audience that remained loyal. They optimized the algorithm for engagement at absolutely any cost. And older users, according to multiple research studies, engaged with everything. They commented on posts from people they barely knew. They shared articles without reading past the headline. They clicked on obvious clickbait. They reacted emotionally to rage-inducing content. From an algorithmic perspective, they became the most valuable demographic on the platform. So Facebook started feeding them exactly what generated reactions. And what generated reactions was getting progressively, unmistakably stranger. The algorithm didn't care if content was true, meaningful, or valuable. It only cared about one metric: engagement. Did people click? Did they comment? Did they share? If yes, show them more of exactly that. It was a feedback loop that would transform the entire platform. If you've been nodding along thinking, "This explains so much about my feed," hit that like button and subscribe, because we're about to go even deeper into how this digital ecosystem completely transformed into something nobody could have predicted. Enter the AI content farms. Somewhere around 2022, entrepreneurial opportunists discovered a gold mine. You could generate bizarre, eye-catching images using AI tools like Midjourney and Stable Diffusion, and Facebook's older user base would share them by the thousands without question. You've absolutely seen these. Jesus made entirely of vegetables, log cabins constructed from impossible materials, children with 47 fingers asking for birthday wishes, shrimp arranged into the shape of religious figures, soldiers made of clouds, cottages built from roses. These images are obviously fake, obviously AI generated to anyone paying attention. The fingers don't work right. The proportions are impossible. The textures don't make physical sense, but they accumulate millions of shares anyway. Why does this work so effectively? Because they trigger something primal in human psychology. They're strange enough to make you stop scrolling mid-feed. They often include emotional manipulation tactics perfected over years. Amen if you agree. Bet you can't scroll past without sharing. Only people with pure hearts can see this properly. My grandson made this. He said nobody would share it. The genius, if you can call it that, is that these AI content farms reverse-engineered the engagement formula like scientists studying a virus. They're mostly operated from overseas, from countries with lower labor costs, churning out hundreds of images per day, each one scientifically designed to maximize engagement metrics. These farms don't care about truth or authenticity or meaning. They care about one thing: shares. And shares directly translate to advertising revenue when you're running a Facebook page with millions of followers built entirely on AI-generated manipulation. It's a business model. Generate fake content, get engagement, sell advertising space, profit. Repeat thousands of times per day across hundreds of pages. Meanwhile, Facebook's own fact-checking efforts struggled to keep pace with the tsunami of misinformation flooding the platform daily. The platform that once promised to connect the world and bring people together became a superhighway for content that ranged from harmless nonsense to genuinely dangerous misinformation. Users weren't just sharing harmless minion memes about coffee anymore. They were sharing AI-generated political propaganda designed to inflame tensions and divide communities. Fake news stories with manipulated headlines that never happened. Conspiracy theories wrapped in the comfortable packaging of nostalgia and patriotism. Health misinformation that could actually harm people. And Facebook's algorithm rewarded all of this equally because engagement is engagement, and truth became a secondary consideration to keeping people scrolling and clicking. Here's the plot twist that nobody saw coming. Gen Z didn't just abandon Facebook. They abandoned it and left it to transform into something entirely different, like a house left to slowly decay after everyone moves out. Zombie Facebook isn't dead in any traditional sense. It's undead. It's a platform that continues to lumber forward through the internet, consuming massive bandwidth and generating billions in advertising revenue, but it's lost its cultural soul completely. The personal connections that originally made Facebook magical are gone. The birthday wishes from people who actually know you. The photos from real events with real friends. Your grandmother isn't switching to TikTok anytime soon. She tried once, got confused, and went back to Facebook. She's not learning Discord or figuring out Reddit's interface. She's on Facebook, sharing AI-generated images of Jesus made of cottage cheese, and she's perfectly content with that experience. The algorithm has created a self-sustaining ecosystem that feeds itself. Older users engage consistently and predictably. AI farms supply endless content optimized for maximum engagement. Facebook collects advertising money from every interaction. And the whole zombie machine keeps shambling forward quarter after quarter, posting record profits while becoming increasingly culturally irrelevant. Meanwhile, Gen Z watches from TikTok and Instagram like anthropologists observing a digital nature preserve through glass. Look, there's Aunt Carol sharing another Minion meme about wine o'clock. There's Uncle Dave commenting on a local news article he definitely didn't read past the headline. There's that AI-generated image of a baby made entirely of strawberries with 800,000 shares and counting. There's someone's grandfather arguing with a bot in the comments. It's internet anthropology, happening in real time. The study of a platform that became its own weird, isolated ecosystem, completely cut off from the broader culture, evolving in its own strange direction. But here's the uncomfortable question that nobody in Silicon Valley wants to discuss openly. Eventually, demographics shift. Generations age. Time moves forward. And when they do, what happens to zombie Facebook? Does it finally die a proper death? Does it transform into something else entirely? Does Gen X inherit it and fill it with grunge nostalgia? Or does it just keep generating AI content for an audience of bots talking to other bots? The ultimate manifestation of the dead internet theory made horrifyingly real? A digital graveyard where artificial intelligence posts content for artificial audiences, generating artificial engagement in an endless loop of meaninglessness? The answer might be that Facebook's future is already here, playing out in slow motion before our eyes. It's a cautionary tale about what happens when a platform chooses engagement metrics over authenticity, when algorithms completely replace human curation, when profit margins matter infinitely more than people or culture or meaning. Facebook won the battle for market dominance and user numbers. They have billions of accounts. They're still one of the largest companies in the world, but they absolutely lost the war for cultural relevance and meaning. They became the thing every tech platform fears most. Not dead and offline, but obsolete. Not shut down, but spiritually hollow. A zombie in the truest sense, walking and moving but lacking any real life. And maybe that's the perfect ending for Facebook's story. Not a dramatic shutdown announcement that makes headlines worldwide. Not a spectacular crash that Silicon Valley talks about for decades. But a slow, inexorable fade into irrelevance, kept artificially alive by an aging user base and an army of AI content farms, a zombie shambling through the digital landscape, completely unaware that the party ended years ago and everyone else moved on to spaces that feel more alive. So the next time you accidentally open Facebook instead of Instagram, take a moment to appreciate the bizarre digital museum you're visiting. Watch the AI-generated religious imagery that defies the laws of physics and anatomy. Marvel at the Minion memes that refuse to die no matter how many years pass. Observe relatives arguing in all caps about topics they read about in misleading headlines. You're witnessing internet history unfolding in real time. The transformation of a giant happening in slow motion, one algorithmically optimized post at a time. This is Zombie Facebook, and the story of how platforms evolve, adapt, or fail to do either continues to unfold before our eyes every single day. The question isn't whether Facebook will survive. The numbers say it will, at least for now. The real question is whether survival without cultural meaning, without genuine human connection, without being part of the living internet, actually counts as living at all. Or is it just another form of being undead, stumbling forward through pure momentum, long after the soul has departed? That's a question each of us has to answer for ourselves. But one thing is certain: the Facebook that once defined social media is gone. What remains is something else entirely, something stranger, something that keeps moving forward, even though what made it special died years ago. Welcome to the age of Zombie Facebook. Population declining, but still in the billions. Engagement higher than ever, meaning nowhere to be found.